Welcome back to the High Speed Garage. Thank you to Riverson Radiators and Contrast Printing for keeping the garage open. I'm Hayden. I'm your host for the day again, and I've got the boys here, Joel and Michael.
Howdy.
There you go.
I don't even need to ask you how your weekend's been because it's been freaking awesome.
We were all together for the weekend.
Yeah, for a change.
Yeah, you can see the damage on my face. Forehead's bloody burnt like a crisp. Because I lost my bloody hat.
You still haven't found it?
No, I lost my hat Friday afternoon or Friday morning, whatever it was. And then we were packing up before we went to the presentation, and I found my hat underneath my swag.
So you blamed every other cunt for stealing your hat?
Oh, yeah, no, it was definitely everyone else's
You lost
fault. Yeah, that was all me.
Still a bit rough after the weekend too.
Was a big weekend.
I'm a bit tired, but that's about it. But I have had a week and a half.
You are a seasoned veteran of this, Joel.
Well, this has got to be the first one that we haven't cracked a tin.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'm not feeling rough. I've just had enough.
Yeah,
I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm rough, tired, and had enough.
So we've been down to Yarrawonga for the EC Griffith Cup and round one of the NDC. First of all, I want to thank Rob Sala and his wife for letting us use their house. We did a couple of podcast interviews down there as well. You'll hear them later on. And
Not only did he just let us use the house, he cooked us and about 4 million other people dinner on Saturday night.
Yeah,
so
it was good
that
feed
was nice.
too.
Thank you, Rob.
Thought I'd start off with Anzac Day. So we, Thursday night, we finished work. We all packed up, met at Joel's, and then met Tony Hearn from the Explicit crew. We all cruised down there, and then Sparrows fired on Friday morning. We went to the Anzac Dawn service. That was pretty good, boys.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not a bad turnout down. That's pretty big.
And there's fair few people.
It's a pretty nice spot there down the RSL for it. They got the big tanks out the front and the big airplane out the back.
Yeah, it's good get up.
War machines.
I haven't been to a Dawn service with all the gear set up. Obviously, that's a permanent structure, but it looks really nice doing the Dawn service with all that stuff in the background.
Yeah, it is. It's cool.
That's all set up.
Yeah, and then into the RSL for
some breakfast.
some breakfast.
Those beers took a while to get down the throat.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, at 6 o'clock in the morning, I haven't started beers that early. I usually do the Dawn service and then go home, but this weekend we started beers real early, and
Anzac Day, I get around it.
yeah. They started to flow pretty easily later on, as everyone saw me falling asleep on the bank at what was that, about 12 o'clock. I had a feed and got my sugar back up and had a snooze.
That's probably why your head's burnt.
Yeah.
So we went down to the pits for a little bit, and then you boys went off to two up. That sounded like it was a pretty decent weekend.
No, it's nothing. It's pretty.
It's
pretty
not
average.
as good as it is up around here.
We sort of make the volume.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I get in there and yell and fucking tail them up and head them up. And
the atmosphere was nothing until we rocked up, which happens at most places.
yeah.
So how many boat races were at the
Just three of us.
Yeah, just me, Joel, Craig Bailey. Oh, Juz turned up a little bit
Oh, yeah,
later.
Juz was late. He was only
was
there for the last couple of tosses.
Oh, rightio.
By the time he went and checked in and whatnot and then dropped back around.
Craig brung his young fella over as well. And the girls, he brung
Yeah.
his wife Janelle and Naomi Gilligan.
Yeah, rightio.
Yeah,
So there was
they
a
both
couple
got
there.
in the middle and had some flips, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. It wasn't a bad day. I was up, so I'm fucking happy with that.
Yeah, I ended up. I was down pretty much the whole day. Everything I was betting on was just losing, and I was almost out of money. And then they turned it on and said this is the last flip, so I just went right off, throw everything in it, and I won like the last sort of 5 hands at a couple $100 each, and it propped me right back up.
Sent it hard and got the retrieve the benefit.
I always go hard at the end. I just pace myself during the day and go up, down, up, down, up, down. Then the end of it, I'm prepared to just throw all my money away. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Sounds like other parts of life.
But yeah, so it was a good
Finish
day.
strong at the end.
Yeah. The trick is with the end of that day, you got to last all day.
I can't last long enough anyway. That's why I stayed back at the races, and I ended up watching a fair bit of the practice on the Friday. There was a as a heap of hot laps. We'll cover the hot laps a bit later on, but
Did you come and have dinner with us? I
yeah,
can't
yeah,
remember.
yeah, I definitely did.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. We were talking to the GP 101 boys.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, they had a bit of a weekend as well. So we watched a bit of the hot laps, and I ended up meeting you guys up there. So there was a bit of a conversation about our live show. A few people would have seen on Saturday morning. The saying goes, you don't know what you don't know. Like, I thought I had everything organised, and then we turned up on the Saturday morning, and unfortunately, what I thought were going to happen was Scott's going, well, we were supposed to have this and we don't have it, and I didn't ask for a count in because they don't really do live crosses. So, yes, it wasn't exactly what we wanted it to be, but we started the first thing and we've learnt shitloads from that. And then the next time we do it, we'll do it better.
Hopefully.
Well,
We're definitely going to do it.
Don't think we could do much worse.
No.
I thought it was all right, apart from the start, but the rest went fine.
Yeah, the start was difficult, especially because I didn't ask for a count in.
Yeah, it was all a bit weird.
Yeah. So that wasn't Scott's fault. That wasn't our fault. It was just a
miscommunication.
Something we didn't really think about.
Yeah. I was nervous as all shit doing that episode.
Yeah, I saw your hand shaking around.
Man. I was lucky.
Clobbered Tate.
I was talking to obviously Ryan first, and I was I could see myself shaking, and then I finished with Ryan. And I moved to Tate, and Tate's a bit closer to the microphone, and I could see my hand shaking. I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, I'm going to smack him in the mouth in a minute with this microphone. I didn't know, so that's all good.
And I had a microphone through all that. I don't know if anyone saw that or what, but I had a microphone in my hand, and then so it finished up. The last person was when I realised that I might as well give the interviewed person the microphone. Well, the only person that got a microphone was Scott Patterson. Connor Patterson. Well, he got the black and yellow bloody microphone. It looked like he turned up with his own personal microphone.
That was pretty funny.
I think I called him Scott Patterson later on in the week as well, because words are difficult for me.
For those that don't know, Connor's Cooper's brother.
Yeah, Cooper's quotes. We want Connor's. What were we talking about? Connor's comments or something like that. We're going to try and get another Patterson in. Rightio. So on the Friday, we'll get into some results from the weekend. On the Friday, we had NDC hot laps. There's a fair few other people doing some racing, but like if I covered everything, the show would go for friggin' hours. So we'll just cover the massive bits for the weekend. NDC hot laps. Connor Patterson, he got the fastest time around with the Turn It Up boat. Behind him, by supposedly wasn't very much. I didn't see the numbers.
10.12 or something like that. 10th and a bit.
Tate Ramsey in the Lay It On boat. And in third, we had Ryan Constable with the Odin boat. That Constable boat, they worked their ass off from hurting 2 engines at Taree.
Yep.
They spent all week getting that next engine going. I don't know if that was an engine they had in stock or they sort of fixed out of 2 damaged ones, or I don't know what the full story was, but for them to go from 2 damaged engines at Taree, come down to Yarrawonga and have such a good weekend, I reckon they really need a big prop up, because
they seem to do that everywhere we go.
They are
put in a massive effort to get there and then take home the chocolates.
Yeah. So there's no problems there. I'm all for that. I reckon they are doing a cracking job.
Yeah.
All right. So there was some races through the weekend for the NDC final, but for the NDC race heats, we'll cover the final. That was on Sunday morning. Lay It On won. Immortal came second. Destiny came third. Unfortunately, Odin was in that race as well, but he was out due to a broken water pickup. They were actually on the.
He wasn't in the race, but yeah.
Yeah, they were in the water at the ramp, and someone mentioned, "Why is there so much water?" Like, I can hear water coming into the boat. They had a look, and they're like, "Holy shit, this thing's got a massive water leak." So, very lucky that the crew picked that up.
Unlucky that they missed the final. It would have been a good race,
I reckon it would have been an awesome race.
considering what those two boys did later on in the day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Les Spears.
Yeah, that was a lot of good racing over the weekend between those two. So Turn It Up, unfortunately, he got a big
Yeah, got a
bit
bit
of damage on the side of his boat.
a bit of damage to the hull in the heat one, I think it was.
Yeah.
They were all prepared to pack it up, and I went up there just to see him and have a chat with Connor, and I had a little look, and I said, I don't think that's that bad. I don't think the boat's even damaged. It's pretty much just the paint that's come off. And they said, it's gone right underneath. It's pretty bad underneath. And I looked underneath, and I was like, oh yeah, there's a fair bit missing there. But I said that all is solid. There's nothing really wrong with it. There's no splits or no cracks or nothing like that. It's just pulled the outer layer off. And I said, I'd put that back in the water and I'd run that. I said I wouldn't go 10 tenths, but
Because he was 10 tenths through that first heat.
yeah, he definitely was. Yeah, I said I wouldn't go flat out, but I'd definitely be putting it back in the water to keep going with points. Otherwise, you would end up well down the list. You'd probably end up last. You would have only done hot laps and one race. So yeah, that's why he was sort of cruising around at the back. He was just sort of getting points and not trying to wreck the boat any further.
Yeah, he was just trying to look after the boat so
Yeah.
it could finish. And realistically, when we look at the NDC points, if we look at the top five, obviously Tate Ramsey with the laid on boat, he was leading. He led all three races as far as I remember. He's in first, but then in equal points for second, you've got Immortal and Turn It Up. So if he hadn't, he'd be a fair way back.
Yeah, that shows how much you can still hang in there just from going around doing
You've
the
just
laps
gotta
and
finish.
He's lucky with a couple of heats. Like his third, this first heat on Sunday was only had 3 boats in it, so
Yep.
Yeah.
that's a third. And then the next race was fourth, so
You've also got to remember he was winning everything up until
yeah, he was still
the
quick.
boat
Yeah,
Yep.
had a tissue.
So it shows you've just got
Fastest
to
in hot laps and then one heat one.
you got to make sure you finish.
Yep.
yeah. Cause missing that, like you look at Odin, missing one race, it just drops him right out of it.
Yeah. Ryan Constable in the Odin boat, he's back in fifth now. So in fourth, sorry. So for something that had that much speed,
Yeah.
drop one race and you're so far back. So anyway, that was the NDC for the weekend. So they finished on the Sunday morning.
NDC round 2 is going to be up at Laidley
Lately.
in the July
End of June,
end of June.
28th and 29th or something like that.
So we might head up there and
I don't know if I
over
can
that
go.
one as well.
If we don't have boats,
It'll
we'll
just
be
me
up
and
there.
Hayden.
Yep, no, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. We've got
Try to suss that out, but I'm not sure. I think I got a 60th.
yeah, okay.
I'll suss mum out for that.
That's all right. We'll sort something out.
We'll keep the team.
But yeah, that's
Keep
been
team
round
together.
2 is, so we'll
Yep.
keep you updated.
Yeah, we'll cover that a little bit later on anyway. On Saturday afternoon, though, we had the what is it? The longest running motorsport trophy in the Southern Hemisphere, or the
Yep.
second longest?
It's the longest running, yeah.
So the Griffith Cup's been around for a long time.
110, did I say?
I think it was either 1910 or 1912 or something like that it started.
That's a lot of years ago.
Yep.
Like the Bridge to
In,
Bridge, it
in Sydney
started
Harbour it started.
in the Sydney Harbour. They spoke about it on the
Boats,
weekend.
it took them 18 minutes
Yeah.
to complete the circuit.
Yeah.
Slow
The race
times.
time was 18 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. We're only saying like one of the 1.6 hydros would have lapped them back then.
Yeah.
Like if a 1.6 hydro was back
Yeah.
then, like it'd lap them. Like just the technology is so much different to now, and unfortunately, no, there wasn't. Unfortunately, it was a big benefit to us. We got to enjoy Aussie Connection winning its heat to get into the final.
That was pretty cool to see the big girl win a heat
Wound up for 3 laps, it was good.
and make it to the final.
I loved listening to that thing screaming.
Yeah,
past.
it's so cool.
So loud. You think a GP hydro or a blown boat's loud? This thing's bigger. It's
Everyone runs to the bank for like your blown boats and your hydroplanes. That could literally just go out and do a demo and everyone would be on the bank.
Yeah. You can feel it like you can feel the top fuelers.
Yeah.
it's
It's
just
not
so-
as much, but it's still there. You can feel it.
Goes past your redlining at 3,000 RPM.
It's just such a beast. So yeah, we got to enjoy that. But in
For those that don't know what that boat is, it's like the engine in it is out of like a World War II Spitfire.
Yeah, the Merlin,
aeroplane.
V12 Merlin.
Yeah. So yeah, it's got a shitload of capacity and a shitload of torque, which is why it only revs to like 3,000 RPM.
It doesn't rev big. You think, oh, he's just cruising around. Like, no, he probably is up it, but it just doesn't rev big.
Yeah.
It's different to everything.
Yeah, the
else
amount of
he's
torque
racing.
that's in that.
It's got to start on petrol, and then they switch it over and run on methanol.
Yeah, there's
It does run on methanol, does it?
Yeah.
There's a bit of a start procedure to it.
Push this button and then push that button once you're going, and then pull that lever once you at 3,000 or 2,000, whatever. It's a fair old workout.
Fair bit going on.
Mm.
Yeah, it is cool though.
It's what they used to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. There used to be more than just that one.
Yeah.
There used to be all of them like
Heaps
that.
of them.
There's one boat still over in the H1s that still use that engine.
Really?
Yeah, they've just got 2 turbos on it, and they race that against the big jet engines.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's big. So for that to still be going around like that, that's bloody awesome. So in the final on the Griffith Cup, we had White Noise in first, GP 101 in second, and Hurricane, which is a 5 litre Howard Hydro in third.
Go the 5 litres.
Yeah. So
I don't think there wasn't a logboat that qualified for the final.
which I was quite happy about.
I think it was part of the organisation of the event, so they were a bit behind schedule, and because the NDC hadn't finished, the logboat guys pretty much had to make a decision whether they go in the Griffith Cup or
Go in the NDC.
or they go in the NDC because it was going to be in between, and they weren't going to wait for boats, so they wouldn't let you go in your Griffith Cup heat, then wait for you to set your boat up and put fuel in and do whatever else to go in the NDC, and then wait again to go in the final of the Griffith Cup if you made it. So that's probably why there was a lack of logboats there. Well, but still, it was still a good field of hydroplanes.
Yeah. On the start, so a fair bit happened in that final. Last week, who did I predict?
I don't know.
Do you not want to remember? I predicted Ricky Howard and Grant Healy to be winning their second Griffith Cup, and they come through the chocolates. Unfortunately, there was a issue on the start down the first straight and into the first corner, and Warlord coming in hole one.
Half spun.
Yeah, he had a spun. I'm not sure what actually happened, but he had a spin in that first corner, and then White Noise went on to lead to the checkered flag, and there was a bit of controversy in the tower.
Yeah, where we were standing, we were lucky enough to be, I don't know, it sounds a bit wanky, but we were sort of in the media section, and we got to be privy to sort of the drone footage, and I don't know. I can give my opinion. It's only my opinion, but I would have had GP 101 winning the cup.
Well, he couldn't. He hit the boy anyway, so he was disqualified.
No, 101.
Oh, 101, sorry.
Warlord.
Yeah, Warlord.
Yeah, Warlord hit the boy anyway, so regardless of what sort of happened in the first corner, he sort of wasn't going to get it. But yeah, I don't know what the officials were looking at, but I guess that's why they're officials and I'm not, because I clearly saw White Noise change lanes. But,
so you're saying about the rule on the first straight. I don't understand
holding your
that.
lane down the
I don't
first shoot
understand
around the
that
corner.
thing. Like, as far as I could tell on the drone, I was like, I'm happy with that. Like, they didn't impede each other, whatever.
Well,
but when you look at the actual rule, supposedly it says different, does it? Or
yeah, well, you got to hold your lane down the straight and around the first corner. So in the first corner, there was more than enough room for Warlord to fit up the inside. There was plenty of room,
That's what I thought too.
there. But Troy obviously got a little bit balked, I suppose, which can happen because the White Noise boat sort of started in lane 4. Like, there's a big gap between where Warlord was and where White Noise was. But when they got to the buoy, they were side by side. And when that happens, because the White Noise boats turned from sort of a bit further out, the angle of the two boats at the same point are really different. So if Troy's seen Ricky in front of him like that at that angle, he's probably thinking, well, I'm going to hit him, which he may not have. He might have been able to swing it and they just went round and, they might have bumped or something. But yeah, you tend to swing. I've been in that situation before driving a logboat against hydroplane, only a little 5-litre one. But yeah, when the hydroplane's coming across in front of you, it is even if they're off at a distance, they're at a different angle to what you are, and it is daunting.
Yeah. So it realistically, the first straight, I see it as you can't change lanes, as in you can't take someone else's lane, but you're saying that the way, like as far as I'm concerned, you think the real shit anyway.
I do.
You hate
I have. By the way, I have no problem with how that happened. If that was, the rules. If the rules were the way I would like them, there'd be absolutely no problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah, but you're saying that the rule on that first straight is you've got to be in a straight line when you start on the start flag.
Yeah,
you've got to be in a straight line to that buoy.
Yeah,
and did he move or did he take his line coming into the corner?
So he's moved over. So my opinion is the White Noise boat was probably starting at the start boat where the flag dropped in maybe about pole 4. You could fit easily one boat between Warlord and White Noise, but you could possibly fit 2 in there.
And realistically, if it was you or me and that was us in the Warlord position, we would move out to where that pole 2 is, wouldn't we? Because that gives you a better access to that corner anyway.
It would do, yeah.
If you've got the room, then you take it.
Yeah. So that's where they
not the way the rule's written though either.
Yeah, unfortunately the rule's written. Well, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen how this is written.
If you're in logboats, it's a different sort of story because the logboat
everyone hugs really close in.
Wants to stay close to the thing. But say if I was in that race, in saying this too, hindsight's a great thing and you've had a bit of time to sort of think about it. But if I was on the outside of White Noise in my logboat, I'd be thinking, fuck me, why the hell are we all the way over here? Mm-hmm. And I'd be either like bumping his sponsor and saying, move the fuck over, or you just go across and go inside him at the start line.
If the rule was how you could.
No, like how they were. Like I don't want to start that far away from the start boat. If I'm in lane 3 in a logboat, I still want to be as close to that start boat as possible.
So how would you move over without blowing through his? If you were to do that, how would you move over without blowing through his?
I probably couldn't, being a rooster tail, but depends where it starts happening. If it starts happening sort of before the corner where they drop the flag, like if he's already running sort of wide there, well maybe you could lift off and come up the inside, or I don't know. Or you accelerate and go across the front, I suppose, and then fall back into line, wait for the start boat. I don't know.
I think it'd be quite.
There'd definitely be bumps going on.
I haven't driven in the Yarrawonga track, but I think the way you go around that first corner before they drop the flag, I think that'd be a real prick to try and line yourself up because you can't see.
It is a bit painful.
You can't see that. Like they've got. It looked like they had like red buoys down the straight from.
They're in the middle of the course.
I thought it was from the turnout buoy to the turn-in buoy.
Roughly middle or quarter in.
Yeah, they'd be lining the track, yeah.
Yeah, so like I don't reckon in pole 2, I don't reckon you'd see that.
Nah, probably not.
No, but you still should be over on pole 1.
I've never looked at any buoys that line the track. If I'm coming up to a start, even though you're coming sort of around that corner, it's not too bad because they come around that corner there and they let it run down the track a bit until you're sort of lined up, and they drop the flag sort of about the start finish. And by that sort of time, I'm already lined my boat up with the lead-in buoy at the other end. I'm not really looking for a line of buoys.
But if your angles right out, like you've taken a big corner to try and line up with that buoy, it's hard because it's such a big track. Are you going to notice how far away you are from there? If you've given yourself a little bit of room between.
If you're out in pole 5 and pole 6, you're probably not going to.
You're not going to notice, are you?
Nah, but if
especially if you're heading towards that lead.
If there's only sort of a couple of boats on the inside of you, and you can, when you come up the start line, you're looking across at the start boat, you can see the other boats, So you can see if there is a gap
If you're wide.
between them or there's not. Yeah.
And what do you think about the statement I heard? They don't define how wide a lane is.
Well, that is true. Which is I've asked that question probably about 10 years ago at Melton, and I think I said this last week. I've asked this before, and you just get looked at like you're a weirdo, and then they don't answer it. So, yeah, you do. Oh, well, I guess because there is no definition of how wide a lane is, anyone can make the lane as wide as they like.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of what's happened, isn't it?
But then if you do that, then you can. If I'm in lane 1, I'm just going to go in, hit the buoy, and drift out to 4, and that's how wide I think my lane is.
Mm-hmm. And then you could use that answer to someone saying that you've drifted out into pole 2.
I bet you still get penalised.
Yeah, you're still going to get penalised, but that could be your answer, couldn't it?
It-
You could be like
it
Mark,
would be
Mark Dutton and win an argument.
It would be my argument, but I'd still get penalised.
Yeah. But
I'd
the straight
guarantee
you
it.
can get away with
Because
it?
I think in the straight, because he didn't really hinder another boat.
I know he didn't. Like you can
If-
see in the straight line.
Well, it sort of does hinder another boat because you're making them start wider.
Yeah, so you're starting in 5
then
not
they
3.
need to.
Yeah.
But if it would really take one of those other boats to probably
to
protest
it.
and complain that we were pushed out wide at the start. What's the go there?
Mm.
And then that's the shit thing. Even if that did happen, so let's just say one of the other boats protested, and they got, and White Noise ended up being disqualified. Let's forget about Troy hitting the buoy and 101 would have won. If Warlord and that was still going, that was still the outsider boats. It doesn't really benefit them.
Mm-hmm.
If they put in a protest and one boat gets knocked out and they finish third, it's not really worth their effort.
Yeah, and you just look like a protester then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can guarantee you that if the GP 101 team had protested, I can guarantee you they wouldn't.
Yeah.
They don't seem like the sort of crew that would.
I don't really
Unless it was a
believe
really
in
bad
protests
thing
either.
that knocked them out.
Yeah.
Like, that really affected them.
Even then, you still shouldn't have to protest because the officials should see that
Yeah.
and notice that and do it for you.
And if the official,
If you
team,
have to protest, that means the officials didn't see it,
yeah,
or they've seen it not your way. So your protest is going to be useless anyway because they're still going to see it not your way.
Yeah.
Well, in saying that, they didn't say Troy hit the buoy. It's only that I told them, and they went back and looked at it.
Well, yeah. Yeah, because they were probably all worried about the first corner.
First corner, yeah.
yeah,
And they probably never would have even... Well, obviously they didn't pick up on, how wide that gap was at the start. They were only looking at the corner.
yeah,
And they were only looking at the corner because from the bank you heard Warlord have a bit of a rev where it's probably lifted up the wrist tail a little bit and it's bit in or whatever's happened. And that's made them look at the video.
yeah. Well, anyway, we'll wrap that up. I think we've covered that. I was pretty happy to see White Noise get a second.
It was a fucking first.
Second win.
Back to back.
No,
wins.
like a second
Yeah,
Griffith Cup.
Yeah.
We nearly bought the bloody sign. The what do
Oh,
you
yeah, the
call it?
photo.
Yeah, it wasn't a photo. It was a hand.
It was
drawing.
a hand drawing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the
We were bidding on it, and then we got outbid, which I'm pretty sure we were always going to. There was no way they were going to let that go.
yeah, that was on the Friday afternoon. I think Grant Healy bought that, didn't
Yeah,
he?
that was the Friday night.
Yeah.
Full of piss. I'm always good for a full of piss fucking auction.
I don't think anyone knew it was going to happen. And
Nah.
then Joel's just
Fuck,
jumped off
I was
and
on-
said, I'm like, I'm up. I'm done.
He started the betting at 500.
No mucking around.
We were going to.
I had 500 in my pocket.
you're
That's
trying-
why.
you
It
were
would have
trying
been
to knock
nice on the
someone
bar.
out.
It would have been nice on our bar when it's finished.
You were trying to knock everyone out before it started, and then Grant's just gone, nope, it's mine.
Yeah,
Get them in early and fuck them up.
yeah. We were never ever going to win that, no matter how much money we threw at it.
No, that was a really good photo as well. No, I really enjoyed the Griffith Cup. I was going to run down to the pits and do a video interview with the crew, but I sort of got stuck watching that because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. So I did fail myself on that.
It's a little
I'd
bit
love to do
painful
that.
too, being so far
It
away
was
from sort of the
ages
main
away to get
pits.
to
Like
the
it's a
bloody GP pits.
it's a decent walk all the way down there.
Yeah.
I can see why the drivers all have their scooters and their bikes and
Yeah.
golf carts and
Yeah, for
whatever
sure.
else they have.
Yeah, no, the plan was for that. We might jump onto the Les Spears. First, as we said, Constables had a good weekend. They got the chocolates and the Les Spears. In second, we had Immortal, and the 6-letter Cavs got third, which I reckon was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I sort of had the weekend tainted for the 18 footers, and they showed me up.
Yeah, the 21s went all right, didn't
21 smoked it all weekend.
they? Unfortunately, in the heat, laid on, had a big spin, Tatty 180.
Tatey 180.
Thanks, Tony Hearn, for the nickname. Unfortunately, that was in the heat. That was a really good race between.
It was. That
Open
was a
and
cracking
laid
race.
on. But I am happy to report, though, there was a sticker. There was a photo that I found over the weekend. After the weekend, our HSG sticker. It stayed stuck with a big rip straight through the middle of it. So, Brad Hammond, your stickers are very good.
And they're everywhere down there.
Yeah, we pumped a fair few of them out.
Peppered toilets all the way down the road. There's a few on some back of toilet doors. There's
Some signs on the highway.
Yep, a couple of bars got some on the deck. I don't know if
Drinks
that lasted.
trays.
Yeah, drinks trays got them. Lots of boats. So we handed some out.
Cars.
Cars got some too. Yeah. Ian Harris's truck. He got a couple. We were on the way home on Saturday afternoon, and I quickly stopped Tony and quickly ran out and chucked some on the back and on the side door, so he knew that they were there. That was funny as. And then Ian wanted some more because he wanted some in the better spots.
Yeah. We give a few out to hand it for other people to hand out around.
Rightio. So we'll cover the Anzac Cup. First of all, I want to cover one of the heats.
There was two heats.
Yeah. So one of the heats, as far as we know, it was the Anzac Cup. Dewey was sent out. It was a confusion down at the ramp because the GP hydros are one end and the displacements are at the other end of the track. And there was a confusion down at the other ramp, and the ramp marshal sent Dewey out in the GP hydro race, which is the Anzac Cup. And so I was speaking to Dewey, like we all saw Dewey go at like this little tiny boat go out on the racetrack with all these big boats, and then all of a sudden he's like pulled into the middle of the track, and the race went on. It was fine, but
I think he was prepared to take him on, but his oil light come on or something, so he had to pull her up.
Okay, that's one story you've heard. Well, so I spoke to Dewey on the Sunday afternoon. Maybe it was a drunken elevation of the story, but Dewey, I asked him what happened. I was like, "Why were you out in that race?" And he explained that he was sent out accidentally. But he said he saw this yellow boat, and he's like, "Yeah, whatever. That's Brad Holland's in the twister boat." And he's like, "Holy shit, it's got a big bloody rooster tail on it." And then he heard it, and he's like, "It's not, that ain't,
It's got a blower on it too.
So that was a bit of comedy for that, but pretty happy to see GP 101 got chocolates in the Anzac Cup.
Yeah, good on the boys.
Yeah, very good to see.
Finally making some progress with that, getting some speed too with it.
Yeah,
Yep, they've
He's
been doing
driving awesome.
plenty of laps, eh?
Yeah, travelling the country really well.
He's probably done more laps in that boat than any other GP driver
Combined.
this year.
for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, probably all of them put together.
So I'm pretty proud with the GP 101 team because, as we covered before, the White Noise boat won the Griffith Cup, and the GP 101 boat won the Anzac Cup, and their engine builders are the same, which is my cousin Chris Whalen, who's also the bloke that's just built us our new engine. So it sort of hit a little bit better for me. I just love family doing cool shit, and Chris is really doing some cool shit at the moment. Him, Peter Tate and James Tate worked their ass off all last week to try and get it after hurting the engine at Taree.
Yeah.
Destiny got second, and that was Blake Ramsey in Destiny, and Dave Satterley in the Titan boat. He got third. There was a bit of a weird thing with the Warlord boat. It was leading through the first part of the race, but unfortunately there was I saw some comment on Facebook saying that they had a bit of radio communication. Did you see anything about that?
Yeah, I did see that. I thought it was a bit weird, but I don't know. Maybe
You'll never know, really.
if Troy or someone wants to let us know, or someone from the team wants to let us know what actually happened there, if that was it, or it was a mistake or something that, yeah, because I'd hate to think that what was posted on Facebook actually did happen, because if it did, that's fucking shit.
That's horrible.
And if you found the bloke, you'd want to fucking flog him.
Yeah, because these guys spend a shitload of money, make a fair effort to get these race boats to an event, and for some dickhead to get on the radio and try and disrupt that,
Yeah.
I think that's pretty piss poor. And it was quite weird because we all saw Warlord fire back up and finish the race.
Yeah.
So we don't know what was in his ears, but yeah, it was weird that he was able to finish on song on that race. He obviously didn't place, but
The boat's still going home in one piece.
yeah,
and
it's going home in one piece. But he didn't get the race win that he probably thought he deserved.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I loved seeing GP 101 get that. Also this weekend, Tunnel Boat Series finished their final round.
Joel can run us through that. He's the
I'll leave that
outboard
with
bloke.
Joel.
Yeah, well. The AFBGP had their final round down there with Reese coming away with the round win, and he was basically only had to finish the first race, I think, and he had it wrapped up anyway.
Yeah, right.
Because he was that far in front. So, yeah, he won.
Must have been his crew all season.
It definitely was. Yeah. So he won the whole series, and then with Will Parker in second and Ewan Bricker in third. That may have swapped around, I reckon, because Ewan he shit an engine in the final race. Pulled the arse out of a piston and then chainsawed the block to pieces.
Oh dear.
Oh, okay, so Ewan was probably going to finish second.
I reckon it would have been pretty close, yeah,
okay.
because they were fighting pretty close all year.
Yep.
And and then might as well congratulate Mitch from the 100 mile an hour club finally making 100 mile an hour in his new tunnel boat on his first meeting in it. He was doing all right from what I watched. Couldn't really watch a hell of a lot because I was had to stay with the trailer all weekend because of the ramp issues. Yeah. But yeah, so he's doing real well for his first go in a
It looked like he was having fun anyway.
Yeah, they heard an engine Friday.
I did
yeah,
see
Friday that. In practice or whatever, they nipped a piston up, and I sent a few photos of Corey Duvall helping him out, putting a new engine on. They grabbed an engine out of someone's trailer, just an old shit thing that they picked up the records of they were going to rebuild. I mean, whack it on.
That's what's going to be used.
Yeah, and it kept running all weekend.
They give it a bit of a tune-up at 10:30 Friday night.
Yeah, they got in a bit of trouble for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, fucking neighbours and everything come out fucking blowing chunks.
Oh, shit.
At 10:30 at night with a 8,500 RPM.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, you bought next to a racetrack. Yeah, no, it's probably not the best idea. But unfortunately, they as ski racers, they probably haven't had to deal with that sort of thing late at night. So that's a big lesson for them. We've got to really respect the neighbours around our racetracks.
Yeah.
So they don't actually blow up when we're doing.
Yeah,
we want to run race meetings
through the week.
But yeah, all in all, it was a bit in trouble, but it was an averagely run meeting. Very slow. Ramp was chaos. Too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
The ramp always is chaos there.
It was better than last year. They didn't block in the boats that were parked on the side.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was still just a shit fight.
Yeah, I don't know what they do, yeah. Anyway,
we'll step up. So that's our rundown to Yarrawonga. There was a lot of other good races, but yeah, as I said, we'll just be here for another couple of hours.
Be afraid.
This episode is brought to you by Riverstone Radiators and Fabrication in Walker Street, South Windsor. specialising in automotive plant and transport cooling solutions. They can repair copper, brass and alloy radiators and intercoolers. Contact the office on 02 96 27 4657. Local pickup and delivery service available to trade customers.
Just talking about all that.
This weekend, we got the Double Dash. That's a local event. I'll be doing a fair bit of running around down there. I'll probably be disappointing some people on their GPS readout at the end of the race. So if you are racing this weekend, make sure you keep under that. Otherwise, I'll be smiling.
Make sure your boats are up to scratch because I'm checking them over.
Yeah, you scrutineering on Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
Very good.
Also, there was a change. I don't know whether we've commented on the pod, but we did before, and they weren't running the S1, S2 ski racing classes, but there's been a bit of update on that situation, and they are doing that now. So that's nice to see.
Running the blown boats,
hopefully that all goes well.
Forced induction ski race boats can run now.
Yeah,
so that's good to see. It's good to see that happening.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we did see something over the weekend. We've all been following, not on the podcast, but just as we sort of look through Facebook, there's a offshore style skater boat over in America. They put 2 blown big block. I think they've got PSIs in them.
They're Noonans.
Hemis.
Noonan Hemis. Sorry, not big blocks. That did its first run on the weekend, and unfortunately, it did a backflip.
Backflip at 210 mile an hour.
It did a fair bit of damage.
I think it did more than it did. It did a backflip and then
couple of twists.
I think it
throw a few pikes in there.
I think they hit the afterburners and took off and tried to get to orbit.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing to see, unfortunately. But
smashed up a fair bit of the boat.
Hopefully, they get that thing repaired. And,
did you see the onboard footage?
Yeah, they got thrown around a fair bit. I don't know why.
Apparently, they broke a fair few bones too.
Yeah,
they put his hand up.
Yeah, I don't know that whole thing seemed a bit rough to me. Like I know they. Well, I'm going to assume that wasn't like a race meeting or a
it was a race meeting
or something. Was it?
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, they won the race.
They don't win.
Oh, just after the race finished.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It was a full-on race.
Oh, they got
well,
the chocolates.
They weren't
it's
racing.
Just a drag thing. Whatever they do down there.
Drag
That's what the boat was built for.
Where was the other boat?
I don't know. They might have just been on their own sort of type deals for speed runs or time trial things. But there was definitely, I don't know, you can flick through it and find it. Well, they're standing there with a trophy.
Their safety gear over there definitely needs to fucking improve.
Well, the offshores is similar.
Yeah,
all air and no. They got shoes on and no long pants or nothing.
Yeah,
no life jackets, no cell suits. No. Fucking
it's really strange.
Their fucking arms and legs flying around the whole cockpit, loose hoses and shit flogging around in there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I saw their arms went straight up in the air, and realistically, like I haven't been in a big accident, so I don't know, but I know that the rule is you go around and grab your straps because you don't put your hands up to the the roof
and get them flung around everywhere else.
Yeah, so if you're in a crash,
I think at 210, I think you probably haven't got much control over
things would happen
arms.
very quickly. Yeah.
Well, no, they
especially you're not trained for it.
They kind of did because it was so slow, which is why I reckon he probably has thought about that. Like if we crashed one of ours, it had happened so fast we don't really get a chance to think about that. But because that sort of took off and flew through the air for so long, like a few seconds, there's probably enough time there for them to think.
Oh shit!
And I don't know what he's done, but yeah, he's just sort of put his hand up.
Oh yeah, another 2 accidents from Yarrawonga. Unfortunately, Brad Holland set the twister boat backwards.
First time to 1.6 has been over.
Yep, and then on Sunday, unfortunately, Corey Marlin, he was driving the 1.6.
That was high.
Grant Harrison's.
Yeah, that was a good one.
He was driving really good all weekend. Like he was
his
actually
first
fast.
Yep. He didn't drive Saturday.
Watching that.
Oh, he only drove Sunday.
Yeah.
I thought he drove Saturday as well.
Because it was championship.
Watching the boat coming up before it sort of took off.
Corey's boat.
Yeah. The boat was running beautiful. Like it was nice and like light on the water. It just looked really good and really in control, like really fast. And then it just got that little bit too high. And then once that happens, it's all over, isn't it?
Yeah. Now I was talking to Brad, and he was saying it was pretty traumatic. Like his shoelace got caught, and his mask got blown off and stuff like that. So what I was talking to Brad about was he wants to do like a talk to people from drivers that have been wet to drivers that haven't been wet yet.
Yep.
And all the drivers that have been wet, he wants everyone to talk about the shit that goes on, what goes wrong in an accident.
That's a fucking great idea.
Not just in a cell test.
Yeah.
Because cell test is, this is how you get out.
Nothing really goes wrong in a cell test.
That's right. But what Brad experienced was, like, his shoelace got caught on something. Well, now he's not going to have shoelaces on his shoes, or he's going to have tape over his shoelaces or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Not the loops where you tie your shoes up.
Yep.
He said he always tucks them down the side.
Yep.
But the actual laces that go across the top of his foot, they got caught on something he doesn't even know.
Yeah.
He got it caught so hard, he ripped his foot out and snapped the shoelace. I know shoelaces are pretty strong, especially when they're new. So I really support Brad in that endeavour to be talking to people about.
That's his second bad one.
To do better. Well, he said that was the worst.
Real bad.
No, well, he said that was easy. He said this is the worst one he's had.
I thought he had an issue in the tunnel boat as well, because that was fucked up.
But he said he didn't run air. He didn't run something else in that, and he just got himself out. So, I support Brad in that conversation with National to have like a good conversation with all cell drivers or all drivers. Yeah. Everyone gets together and talks about what went wrong. I think that's a very important thing.
Maybe they should all do a podcast and we can all listen to it. All drivers that have been wet.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Getting wet.
Yeah.
Rightio.
Hayden.
So we've
Hayden
got...
and his jokes.
I'm an idiot. Rightio. So no questions this week. We had a massive week of racing. Sort your shit out, guys. Get some questions in so we can put shit on you.
There's heaps of people that come up to me and say, oh, yeah, I've got a question for your podcast. I say, don't tell me.
Yep. Send them in.
Record it and send it through.
Even if you don't want to record it, just text it in.
I'd prefer you to record it, though.
Yes.
I'm not saying it for you.
Yeah, I'd love to see him because it actually improves the conversation through here. If you want something brought up, that's the best way to find out about it.
Doesn't even have to be about racing.
No.
If you like, I don't know, doing the fucking tiling in your bathroom or something, and you say how cool it is, or something you've worked out that's really easy, or I don't know, cooking dinner for the weekend, or going away camping.
Like, it's not like we're not trying to find content. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what you're going on with. So
what shit's going
on. Give us some goss. Rightio, boys. We'll finish off with meme of the week. Who wants to go first?
I got mine here. I'll go first.
To get anything of value, you have to sacrifice. Do you know that the harder thing to do and the right thing to do are usually the same thing? Nothing that has meaning is easy. Easy doesn't enter into grown-up life.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, got to have a go. You got to make it work.
I always tell people too, people come up to me about setting their boat and stuff up and say, oh, I like this propeller because it's really easy to drive. Straight away, I know that's not fast.
No.
If it's easy to drive, it's not fast.
Yeah, that's right.
If it's difficult to drive, there's probably a chance you're going fast.
Yeah.
If it's easy, it ain't good.
Yeah, 100%. All right, here's Hayden's meme.
We were too young to understand.
Here we are, Barney boy, costumers. What kind of costume you gonna get?
Well, I'm gonna get something that makes me look tall.
How about another head?
Another one? What do I need 3 of them for?
I can guarantee his kids who had no idea what that joke was about.
The good old Flintstones, Fred and Barney.
Very good.
All right, mine's a bit more of a parenting hack, but it's pretty. I thought it was pretty funny.
What's your parenting hack?
Sometimes I tell my toddler a star shines through her nose when she lies. So when she's trying to tell a lie, she'll always cover her nose. That's how I know she's lying.
That is genius!
Just wait.
Lock that in! Use that, Chef Nation! That's a little conniving, you know? I don't know how I feel about that. That was genius. Hold on. No, I did it! Especially at 3, I can still use that.
Yeah, no, rightio. Well, that was actually a really good one. I think might use that.
I don't know. I think my kids might just be a little bit old for that.
A little bit too old for that, but
I think they're probably already outsmarting me.
Yeah, you should have probably got onto that a bit earlier.
Yeah.
that probably would have been a good idea. Maybe mine are too. I don't know.
I'll get onto it.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah,
Getting it on.
Joel's right.
Teach it backwards. Yes as no one knows yes.
Unfortunately, finished the show off this afternoon with a bit of a negative, somber note. As of when we recorded this, we've found out that Graham Bannister from Bannister Marine in Lake Macquarie, it's Kane's father, he's unfortunately passed away this afternoon. So our thoughts with the Bannister family.
Condolences.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's shit.
Condolences to the whole family and the whole Bannister Marine family.
Yeah, it was good team.
Yeah.
Team up there. Don't forget, you can find us on the socials, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Make sure on Facebook you can join the HSG Pitscop group, where you can put your own questions and get around the community.
Yeah, I had Jason Heaney put something in there over the weekend about Brittany Force knocking off the Top Fuel record, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's bloody good to see.
Yeah,
Anyway, get around that. Thanks, guys. Talk to you next week.
All right.
Catch you later.
Thanks for listening.